All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about something that affects millions of people, but, well, we just don't talk about it. So we're going to pull back the curtain on urinary incontinence and figure it all out together. Seriously, just for a second, what picture just popped into your head? Because I'm willing to bet, for a lot of us, it's a very specific and, frankly, a pretty inaccurate image.
Yeah, this is what we usually think of, right? These words create this powerful, kind of gloomy picture of what it means. But the actual reality? Oh, it's so different. It's time to bust these myths with some cold, hard facts.
Let's just start with this number, because it's a big one. 1 in every 3 women who's had a baby. Think about that. That's not some small fringe group. We're talking about our mothers, our sisters, our friends, us. That changes the picture completely, doesn't it?
And it's not just new mums. 1 in 4 New Zealanders, that's across the board, men and women, young and old, lives with some kind of incontinence. This is so much bigger than the stereotype. It's an incredibly common human condition.
Okay, so we've kind of smashed that big myth about who this affects. Now, let's make sure we're all on the same page and get a really clear idea of what we're actually talking about.
So, here's the official definition, and the key part is that it's any involuntary loss of urine. That's a problem for you. It doesn't have to be a major event. Even 1 or 2 drops. If it bothers you, if it affects your life, well, that counts. That's the threshold.
And the numbers really back this up. Sure, the likelihood goes up as we get older, but it truly hits all ages. We see it in a quarter of older women and about 10 to 15% of older men living at home, half of all folks in nursing homes, and, yep, even in kids. It really does span our entire life.
Now, this is really important to get. Incontinence isn't just one thing. It's more of an umbrella term for a few different types, and figuring out which type is at play is honestly the most critical first step to getting it fixed.
So, let's break down the 3 main players. Think of stress incontinence like a leaky faucet that drips whenever you put pressure on the pipes, like when you cough, sneeze, or laugh. Urge incontinence, on the other hand, is more like a faulty alarm system. The bladder muscle just suddenly shouts, "Go now," and you can't ignore it. And then there's overflow, which is like a dam that's too full and can't empty properly, so it just kind of dribbles constantly.
And you can see how this plays out, especially for women. That leaky valve type, stress incontinence, is the big one. It's almost half of all cases. But look at that mixed slice. Nearly 1/3 of women have a combination of types, which is so crucial to know when you're looking for the right treatment.
So, we've established how common this is, and we know what it is. So that leads to a huge question. Why on earth aren't we talking about it? And that brings us to the single biggest obstacle in all of this, the silence.
I mean, just look at this chart. It's brutal. 2/3 of women who are dealing with this never ask for help. 2 out of 3. And why? Well, a lot of people just assume it's a normal part of getting older or a normal part of having kids, or they're just plain embarrassed to bring it up. So they suffer alone, thinking nothing can be done.
But then you see this, and this fact right here is what changes the entire story. While 2/3 are suffering in silence, an absolutely massive 80% of cases can be cured or dramatically improved. That giant canyon between the problem and the solution? It's filled with nothing but silence and stigma.
And finding a solution is just so important, because when left untreated, this isn't just a small hassle. It can make people stop exercising, stop seeing friends, leading to isolation and even depression. It can cause real medical problems like skin infections. And here's the real shocker. It is the number 2 reason people are admitted to nursing home.
But okay, that's the tough stuff. This is where the story pivots. Because this is not a life sentence. Let's walk through the actual journey to getting better. It's clear, it's structured, and honestly, it's really empowering.
Treatment isn't this scary one-size-fits-all thing. It's a ladder. You start on the first rung with the simplest, least invasive stuff first. You actually have a ton of power to make a difference right from the get-go. So, step 1 is all about the choices you can make today. Things like cutting back on bladder irritants like coffee and alcohol, managing your weight, and, this one surprises people, making sure you drink enough water. These are simple, foundational tweaks that can have a huge impact. All right, next up is step 2, actively training your body. This is like physical therapy.
You have pelvic floor exercises, you've probably heard of Kegels, which are basically like taking your bladder's support system to the gym. Then there's bladder training, where you go to the bathroom on a set schedule to help your bladder get back into a predictable, manageable rhythm. It's all about regaining control.
And if those first 2 steps don't get you all the way there, we move to step 3. And these aren't scary last resorts. They're just the next highly effective tools in the toolbox. This can be anything from medication that helps calm an overactive bladder to minor procedures that add a bit of structural support right where you need it.
So, we've walked through the myths, the reality, the types, and the fixes. What is the one thing, the most important thing, you should walk away with today?
It's this, right here. This is a message of incredible hope. The data doesn't lie. 70% of women can be completely dry or see a life-changing improvement with the right help. Improvement isn't just a possibility. It's the most probable outcome.
So in the end, the solutions are there, and they work. The biggest wall to climb isn't in your body. It's that silence we keep talking about. So the only question left is, for yourself or maybe for someone you care about, are you ready to be the one to start the conversation? Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.